How does a champion respond when the entire arena knows you're taking the shot?
Kobe, grab, takes the 20-footer. Good! Lakers lead.
When the leading man finds inspiration in desperation.
Duncan. He gets doubled. Shaq all over him. He gets away a fadeaway. He makes it with 4:10 left. Unbelievable.
When the impossible is needed from the most unlikely source.
They get it to Fisher. He scores! Derek Fisher scores at the buzzer.
The story has become an epic. And now, uneasy lies the crown. For the Spurs, it is win or go home. What happens when a team suddenly grows up?
Between the two now it's over on the drive.
Pressure falls on the favorite. Intensity reaches a new level. And the ending is shadowed in doubt. The script you remember. The drama you never forget.
Welcome to the brick building known as Conseco Fieldhouse here in Indianapolis, awaiting Game 5 between the Miami Heat and the Indiana Pacers. Miami winning the last two at home after Indiana taking the 2-0 lead here at this Conseco Fieldhouse. And here's a look at our McDonald's starting lineups for the Miami Heat. All 5 starters in double figures in their last game, and Lamar Odom leading the way with 22, and Ron Artest and Jermaine O'Neal combining for 65 of the 88 Indiana points. And for an injury update, let's check in right now with Charles Davis.
Thank you, Dick. You talked earlier about the injury report for both teams, but the injury that matters right now concerns the Indiana Pacers' Fred Jones. He has a sore left shoulder, hurt it in Game 2, re-aggravated the injury in Game 4, and he told me before the game that he thought he would only play in emergency situations tonight because the shoulder is very weak. Dick?
All right, Charles, and of course, without Fred Jones, who is the leading three-point shooter percentage-wise in the playoffs at 53%, Indiana will have to look for the long bombs elsewhere, Rex.
Well, that'll just leave one less person that'll mean one less person for the Pacers that can't guard Dwayne Wade.
Right. That's true. Ron Artest is going to take his chances a bit, and we're set to go. The officials are Jim Clark, Bennett Salvatore, and Bob Delaney, and the tip controlled by the Pacers. They have the fans on their side. No surprise, they have not lost at home in the playoffs in 4 games.
It's a great building with a great atmosphere.
Ron Artest blocked by Odom. So Miami with an exclamation point on defense to start it, and then Odom throws it away. And ahead of the field is Artest. Goes behind. Reggie Miller is blocked by Eddie Jones. 2 blocked shots in the first 2 possessions by the Miami Heat.
And the downside of that is that Indiana got where they wanted to, but not only did not get a basket, they didn't get a foul on both of those possessions.
And Lamar Odom travels. So we have had a lot of action in his scoreless first 30 seconds.
How about 2 blocked shots for the Heat and 2 turnovers?
That's exactly right. Anytime you go in like that early, you don't mind the block shot, but you want to get some body so that you can get them in early foul trouble.
Jamal Tinsley getting in, and the basket by Jeff Foster, who has only scored 11 points in the 4 games thus far coming into this one.
Well, Lamar Odom got his head turned. I think that's very smart by the Indiana Pacers, trying to get their big man a little touch early and get him to doing all the other things.
Big story for Miami is that they have been dominant on the boards against the bigger Indiana team as Lamar Odom misses from outside. And here comes Tinsley with the lead to Jermaine O'Neal, and he is fouled by Eddie Jones.
You know, the good thing about this is that in looking at this, there have been blocked shots, but all the time you found the Miami Heat behind the offensive players of the Indiana Pacers. That's a bad sign. That means that Miami's getting back, Rex, too slowly.
Without a doubt, they're not getting back at all right now, Coach. They're having to come from behind and block shots. They want to get an up and down game, but they can't give the Indiana Pacers layups.
And they've been kind of lucky because of the fact that they blocked the shots 3 times and only came up with 1 foul out of it.
And turned it over on their own. And O'Neal misses, so 2-0. And Jermaine O'Neal coming off the 37-point game. Most points scored by an Eastern Conference player in the playoffs thus far. Naturally for O'Neal, a career playoff high. And it's 3-0.
Jermaine O'Neal's getting to the free throw line more than 10 times a game in this series.
30 for 43 coming in, and an illegal defense or defensive 3-second violation called against the Indiana Pacers, and so Eddie Jones will go to the line and the Heat will get the ball. Rick Carlisle, who respects the Miami Heat, I think all of the Pacers do more than ever, and he says, boy, this is a terrific driving team. Everyone but the center can drive on you, and that's got to be a problem for Rick.
Yeah, I think so. And I heard somebody asked me the other day if I thought Indiana was overrated. Now, I don't know that they're overrated, but I do know the Miami Heat are underrated.
Brian Grant with the air ball, so the Miami Heat, who have struggled coming out of the gate. Indiana has controlled the first quarter in every game, including the 2 victories by Miami. And right now, Miami having trouble finding the basket. Tinsley, the point guard. Down low to Foster with the reverse lay-in. Well done.
Very clear what the strategy is. Get it in as frequently as you can, as early as you can in the ball game, to try to get this Miami team jammed inside and get them in foul trouble.
You said get it inside, and that's what they're doing at the outset here. And there's Dwayne Wade coming up empty, and Foster the rebound. So the Miami Heat missing its first 3 shots from the field.
And, Coach, they want to try to get Lamar Odom playing a little bit of defense.
Absolutely.
Artest. And here's Wade, and Miami looking to get the ball out. Interchangeable parts. They don't play necessarily by assigned positions. And Wade is fouled by Tinsley on the jumper, and Dwayne Wade will go to the line.
Well, and this is an example of what we talked about. Look at the probing. They're looking to push this thing inside. They get it inside, and Foster really shoots one of those Wilt Chamberlain finger rolls.
I don't know though. I think Lamar has got to fight Jeff Foster a little bit more. I think he's just taking for granted he's not an offensive threat.
Bob McAdoo, in talking about Dwayne Wade, said he had seen all the greats. Now, McAdoo is an assistant coach. Kobe, Magic, Doc, you name it. And he says that Dwayne Wade has similar traits. He says it's in your DNA to be an attacker, and Bob McAdoo would know, and that's what the respect he has for Dwayne Wade.
Bob McAdoo knows about DNA.
Well, he knows about talent.
Basketball. He might know about NA. He didn't know anything about D.
Jermaine O'Neal with the jumper. I didn't know we were going to get into court TV so early in this game. And it's 7-3 in favor of the Pacers as the Heat still looking for their first field goal.
See, this is the advantage of Odom. When he's up high, he can really feed in low very well because he's over top the defense.
Brian Grant with the basket. Some question as to whether the splint on his right pinky would affect his shooting ability. No basket on the play. Jermaine O'Neal is fouled by Brian Grant.
Well, Brian Grant is just amazing, guys. He's a warrior, and take a look at his finger here. He dislocated that thing in game 4. He's had 10 or 12 stitches in his mouth already in this, and he's got to fight Jermaine O'Neal night in and night out. What a warrior.
But where would Stan Van Gundy be without him? Needs him on the team. He is just that, and an offensive foul called against the Pacers, and is charged to Jermaine O'Neal. So there is Stan Van Gundy.
Illegal screen with the man got Eddie Jones with a little chicken wing.
Those aren't bad, you know, for
They're not.
Wade looking for Caron Butler. Butler beating Grant, and good interior defense by O'Neal, but Miami has it with 8 on the shot clock. Wade with the turnaround. He's got it. Dwayne Wade with his first field goal of the game, and it is now a tie game at 7.
He's just a beautiful player. I really do feel like the only thing missing from his game is a consistent three-point jump shot. He's got it all.
And he has time to develop that. Speaking of the long-range shot, Artest missing that one from inside the arc.
And this is Miami's pace right here.
Caron Butler from the corner. So Butler, who had 21 points, his best scoring game in game number 4, giving Miami its first lead.
They want to get it. They want to get it in the hands of Dwayne Wade. Look at this. He faked himself out there. He went right back into the defense. What a shot. But this is the pace that Miami wants to play. They want to get it up and down the floor. And Rick Carlisle told him, Caron Butler has a big game. If he has a big game, he feels like they could be in a little bit of trouble.
And Tinsley lost it, picked up by Artest with 8 on the shot clock. Knocked away by Wade, out of bounds. Last touch by Miami.
You know, it's very interesting in watching Miami how they play Ron Artest. Anytime Artest is on the block, they double team him more rapidly than they'll double team Jermaine O'Neal when he's on the block.
And the clock running down to 3, and Foster from outside, and he is giving them an early offense from an unusual source. 6 points for Foster.
Yeah, Foster, where have you been offensively?
Jeff Foster probably says, where's the ball been?
That's right.
So he's one below his series high at 7 in game number 1. Tied at 9. Double team. Grant finding Odom. And I tell you what, it looks like the officials are letting them play. We're seeing contact out here.
I'm glad to see it. Miami likes to play an aggressive style, as do the Pacers.
5 minutes gone by, first quarter. Artest posting up. Tinsley, red hot from 3. Not this time, and Odom cleared. Jamal Tinsley, 6 of 15 from 3-point range, and Wade misses from outside. And the Miami Heat, 33% early on. Reggie Miller fouled, and they're going to call goaltending on the layup. So Reggie Miller, who has not gotten the shot off yet from outside, will get credit on the layup to give Indiana the lead.
And that was all set up by a very poor shot by Dwayne Wade. His teammates didn't realize he was going to shoot that ball, and it results in Reggie Miller running the court and getting the layup.
Excuse me, that's always the problem with ill-advised shots. They push you into a fast break mode, even if you don't want to run.
Good passing, but the ball's knocked loose, and a pushing foul called against Ron Artest.
I don't like it. I think Lamar Odom lost the ball and was already on the floor, scrambling any way he could, and ended up kicking it out of bounds. I don't think Ron Artest fouled him right there. And as you see here, nice pass by Brian Grant. Lamar loses the ball. He was already on the floor. And the whistle was blown late there, I think.
But Ron Artest is one of those kind of guys that looks like he's fouling when he's not.
Yeah, and Dwayne Wade fouling Jamal Tinsley, who made the steal at midcourt.
You know, there's certain guys that have that physical presence out there, reputation for being aggressive. If they get near someone, the referee's going to call a foul.
Reggie Miller, only 2 baskets in the last 71 minutes, and Reggie Miller coming off a 1-for-7 effort in the last 2 games against Miami. Not so much the 1, but how come only 7 attempts?
Well, I'm a little baffled by that. Obviously, Reggie has settled into a different role with this team. Most of the offense is going to go through Ron Artest and Jermaine O'Neal, but he's got to be a little bit more aggressive. He's playing almost 30 minutes a game and taking less than 6 shots. That's just too few shots for Reggie Miller to take.
Tinsley and Jermaine O'Neal defended by Grant. Grant's really the only member of the Heat that can do an effective job, and they'll call the offensive foul. And that'll be 2 on Jermaine O'Neal, so that's going to affect the early scope of this game as O'Neal will have to go to the bench.
Well, you see, Grant is so physical in guarding him. It causes O'Neal to accentuate his offensive aggressiveness. And the referee might be right, but based on how he's being pushed, you know, he's got to counteract how he's being pushed with force.
On the bench is Jermaine O'Neal, and Al Harrington replaces him. And there is Eddie Jones coming off the screen, and Harrington gets the rebound. Harrington has been inconsistent, and a technical foul has been called against Reggie Miller.
Reggie didn't like the call. He felt like he got hit on an illegal screen. He came off, and as soon as he ran past Bennett Salvatore, turned and had a few choice words for Bennett, and you can't show the official up like
Clear.
Or do you want to give me a statement? Do you want to ask me a question or give me a statement?
I want to ask you a question.
He's holding his ground. There's a difference between holding your ground and
they're doing this the whole series.
Listen to me. You can hold your ground and take the impact. If he did what you said, you'd be absolutely right. But he didn't. Jermaine brought it to him. That's all. It's not a big thing.
Well, the interesting thing is that the tone of the game is judged also by the official. They have to maintain control because this game so far has been very spirited. They don't want to see this thing get out of control. And you know what? No matter what they say, they are right.
And you know what? It almost did get out of control toward the end of game game 4 with those flagrant fouls and the technical by Eddie Jones. But there's the big story for Indiana. Jermaine O'Neal with 2 offensive fouls relegated to the bench early, Rex.
That's very important. What I like about both of these teams right now, Coach, guys, is that they're both being the instigator. Neither one is being a retaliator of sorts. The instigator will normally get most of the calls.
And Ron Artest leaves it for Al Harrington, who hits. Al Harrington, who's been hearing it from Larry Bird, who's been critical of his play, very inconsistent after a terrific series against Boston.
Artest is making that possible, though, because they're doubling and triple teaming Artest. He's got to be a good passer in this game to make them pay for helping.
Eddie Jones with a 2-point attempt. And Miami really having trouble from long range, hitting 27% from the field compared to 54% for Indiana, yet the Pacers are only up by 3 as Harrington misses the shot. Ron Butler working against Artest. Artest guarding Butler, and in the corner is Wade. Tinsley picks him up. Grant has the baseline short shot, cannot convert.
What a move on the baseline by Dwayne Wade. I mean, he's as elusive as they come. I swear, he reminds me of Barry Sanders.
And I love it when he's attacking. I don't love him setting up. When he's attacking, he's his best playmaker then.
I remember Barry Sanders, retired early in his career, unfortunately.
He wasn't bad.
Oh, good as it was. Harrington fouled, driving to the hoop. So Harrington trying, Larry Bird is the president of this Indiana Pacer team, and he is not reluctant to make his comments about how players are performing, and he did not have the complimentary things to say about Harrington, who's coming out very aggressive. Odom commits the foul, and Harrington will shoot.
Well, it's good to see him coming out aggressive. Right now, this has been part of his problem. He's 5 for 15 from the free throw line. He's a guy that gets there quite often, but he hasn't been making his free throws. He's got a nice stroke, which just tells you he's not concentrating very much. But he's also turning the ball over. He's got 2.5 assists a game. Ron Artest is turning the ball over a lot, nearly 3 turnovers a game.
And, sometimes you say things to a player just to put a fire under him, just to irritate him. And sometimes you lie. You lie just to make it mad.
Harrington got his rebound on the miss. Could not convert the layup, but the Pacers have a new possession, leading by 4 with nearly 4 minutes remaining in the first.
Artest feels like he's got a small one on him in Dwayne Wade.
And a foul, and Butler and Wade, and they're going to call it on Caron Butler, and that will be his first.
I think maybe Dwayne Wade got away with one there, Coach. I believe he reached in from the backside here. He's the one that committed that foul, and they gave it to Caron Butler. They'll do that early in the game, more times than not, to try to keep the star players out of foul trouble.
Well, right now the Heat over the limit, and Ron Artest, who has been a 70% free throw shooter, upping the Pacer lead to 5. And coming into the game now will be Jonathan Bender. Played just 2 minutes in the last game. So Bender in there replacing Reggie Miller, and Miller going out. Scored 2 points.
Jonathan Bender, the human slinky. I mean, look at that guy. He goes to the basket and just unfolds at the rim sometimes.
Well, the Pacers hung in there with the likes of Bender and Harrington years ago. They knew they had young players and they wanted them to develop. They didn't lose confidence. Malik Allen in the game banks it in. Allen has really moved in front of Udonis Haslem as the first power man off the bench for Stan Van Gundy. Artest in the corner, trying to keep his balance. Great. And the ball knocked away. Still Indiana, and they have 10 on the clock.
This is a funny lineup for the Pacers right now. For one reason, you rarely see Harrington and Artest play extensive minutes together. They're really going to go inside to the post with these guys, but then you don't really have a true shooting guard out there right now.
And that's a disadvantage for Artest, because every time he gets the ball, they're doubling and triple teaming.
Harrington and Foster fighting Allen for the rebound out of bounds. Last touch by Foster.
I think Al Harrington needs to take that ball to the basket, Coach. I believe Miami's going to live with him shooting jump shots. He's really got to be aggressive in trying to get to the basket. You got to wonder what's going through Jermaine O'Neal's head sitting over there in game 5 with 2 fouls early.
37 points in the last game, 29 in the previous game for Jermaine O'Neal. They have 3:18 remaining and 9 on the shot clock for Miami. 4-point lead for the Indiana Pacers. Here is Wade with a great first move to the basket. Dwayne Wade, who has led his team in scoring in 3 out of the 4 games, tied with Lamar Odom in game number 2, and it's a 2-point affair.
The great thing about that is that the Indiana defense has been excellent in closing the floor. But Dwayne Wade, as you can see right here, is quick enough to get through even the team defense. Look, he's almost gotten through 4 guys that had great team defense by Indiana and still was quick enough to get to the basket.
Under 3 minutes to go in the first. Yes, it is spirited.
No shot. No, that's a crime.
About the subways.
Juliana Margulies, Dylan McDermott.
Our cell versus their cell. I like it.
The Grid, coming this July exclusively on TNT.
Pat Riley, sitting next to Mickey Arison, the owner of the team, has stepped down just prior to the season. Stan Van Gundy became the head coach. Pat Riley, president of the club, and he envisioned the Miami Heat to be exactly like they are playing, an interchangeable part team that pushes the ball up, not the style that they had with Tim Hardaway early in his career.
Definitely been a change, and a lot of it has to do with the absence of Alonzo Mourning. They built that whole team around him. All these parts were kind of complementary parts, and these guys are having to do things they weren't brought in to do. But Pat Riley, a classy guy, and had a chance to play for Pat. Probably the most valuable experience of my professional career playing for that man.
He's won, and he knows how to do it, and he's got to be very proud of leaving Stan Van Gundy. They started out 0-7, and Miami with a great rush in the playoffs and have done tremendously, as Malik Allen hitting his second field goal of the game. Rafer Alston checked into the game. This is a very thin bench that Miami uses here in the playoffs.
Well, the thing that they have to do, they have to be able to hit those little outside shots, though, and they have to prevent that from happening. The penetration, a cutter goes to the basket, and then they're hurting them on the inside. Both teams are trying to get in the lane. I just think that Indiana's doing a better job.
And Jeff Forster has 8 points, John, and an unlikely source giving them some offense. Eddie Jones with a 3, and the Heat taking the lead once again by 1.
You know what's funny about that? You're saying an unlikely source, and you're absolutely correct. But there's the guy that has led this Heat team in scoring the last 4 years in the regular season. He's been a little absent in the playoffs.
And Harrington on the baseline. Artest for 3, and Odom getting the rebound. Lamar Odom, who had played 4 years with the Clippers, finding what it's like life in the playoff land.
I love Ron Artest, but I believe if I was coaching him, I could go without ever seeing him shoot a 3-point shot. I mean, he's made some, but that is not his game.
He is 0 for 4 from the field, and a 3-second violation.
Well, looking at this, man is taking away the baseline from him. He's trying to go into the middle. They're doing a great job of holding. Maybe Harrington's holding on to the ball a little bit. Maybe he heard Larry Bird, and he's trying to do a little bit too much. You want to get that ball moving when the defense settles.
And Foster on the bench with a very big start of 8 points, and more than he has scored in any single game in the series, replaced by Austin Crozier. Anthony Johnson, the point guard, defending against Rafer Alston. And here is Eddie Jones leading it. Harrington doing a good job defensively on Odom. Tipped by Bender. Out of bounds with 5 seconds for Miami to shoot.
The length on Jonathan Bender is just phenomenal, Coach. I mean, he makes a dump down pass and then gets a hand on that ball. He's long and athletic.
And he takes away a lot of those jump shots from the corner, because that's exactly what Miami is trying to do, make those shots. If they make them, they're tough. They won't get inside.
Malik Allen on the feed from Alston. So Allen coming off with a 3-for-3 start and 6 points. The Heat up by 3, and that's the biggest lead they have had in this first quarter. And they have not had a lead in the first quarter in this series. Johnson and the call is illegal defense, 3 seconds, and that's the second call of the game, 1 on each side.
Yeah, the Heat right now are very in tune, weak side, as to what's going on in the post with Harrington and Artest. They're very, very in tune. And I really, as a coach, I don't think that you would mind that, Coach, giving up one or two of these just because they know they're going to double team if the man gets deep.
And they know the emphasis of the Indiana Pacers has been to punch it inside and punch it inside to try to take advantage of their height advantage.
Austin Crozier making the free throw. And we have 40 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Eddie Jones diving for the steal, and it's this kind of hustle that marked Miami's home performances right.
And that you said it right. That's hustle, that's effort there. Eddie Jones is going to battle here. He's just battling Jonathan Bender in the post. He pushed him all the way out to the three-point line and then swings around and gets in front and deflects the ball.
Eddie Jones not doing much offensively in this series, but making it up with terrific defense. He played a great defensive game against Reggie Miller in Game 4, and you've already seen his hustle here.
Well, he put the clamps on Reggie in the last two games, and his defensive effort and his offensive effort the last two games have been big.
And his offensive effort will be needed because Indiana is locking up the middle. They're trying to force Miami to beat them with jump shots and take away totally their penetration by driving, as Miami likes to do.
And they're starting to hit those jump shots, Miami, because they're at 44% after being under 30 for a while. 6 on the shot clock. And here is Anthony Johnson with a jumper, and there's Lamar Odom with the rebound. Miami with great rebounding, and the timeout was called right before. The timeout was called. 22nd by Odom, who was hit in the head. Seems to be all right.
Great hustle. Great hustle. Jeff Foster coming from behind and gets a hand on this. Lamar Odom never saw him. Loses the ball, goes down on the floor, and this is just terrific hustle by Lamar Odom. He was really the only one that got on the floor. Al Harrington fell on top of him.
But it's also indicative of how Miami likes to use the dribble so much. They make themselves susceptible for running at him, running from behind, because these kids are so good with the ball, as you said in the opening, that all 4 guys but the center wants to dribble the basketball.
And now you have to have fear of a team that wants to do this. Jermaine O'Neal on the bench playing just 6 minutes in the first quarter, scoring 3 points but picking up 2 personal fouls.
And that's big. Miami has to be very pleased with where they are right now, guys. They have played this game the first quarter basically to a standstill, put themselves to go in with a lead, but they're competing. And what they've done the last 2 games at home looks like it's translated to the road thus far.
And Jermaine O'Neal is not a happy camper because he picked up those fouls on offense.
Yes, he did. Caron Butler looking to get it down to the postman, and Malik Allen lost it off his foot.
That's why they dribble a lot. They make a lot of mistakes when they start to pass.
The bad angle to make that post.
Awful angle.
Playing for the last shot of the first quarter are the Indiana Pacers. Trying to tie the game, or with a 3 take the lead. And here is Ron Artest against Caron Butler, slapped away by Rafer Alston. And stolen by Caron Butler as time runs out. The Miami Heat, for the first time in this series, have taken the lead at the end of a quarter, as they lead after 1, 21-19, and setting the pace with aggressive, tenacious defense and terrific hustle. As we start the second quarter, Ron Artest getting stretched out kind of early in the game. And of course, for the Indiana Pacers, they do not have Fred Jones, their best 3-point shooter. There is Lamar Odom, who's the only one of the starting 5 not to score for the Heat, but he has 6 rebounds, big early block, and great hustle overall.
And let's keep an eye here. Ron Artest is taking a crack at Dwayne Wade right off the bat to start this quarter with this hodgepodge lineup that the Pacers have.
Ryan Grant hitting the jumper.
That's why they were stretching him out, Dick. Anytime you're going to chase a guy that's that fast, you better get loose.
Maybe they should have sent him back to the locker room for an extended stretch.
This is a tough cover here. Wade's got to guard Bender. They're going to give him a lot of help and try to let Dwayne Wade get around in front of him.
There's Artest. Nowhere to go with it. And it's taken away by Butler, and the jump ball is called. Artest had nowhere to go, and Miami's defense seems to be befuddling the Pacers.
And Artest has to definitely read. When you look at this, a lot of help is coming when he gets the ball. Look at the red shirts that are in this picture, and now you look at Butler take it from him. He's got to continue to do what he did early. Hit the open man.
And Reggie Miller and Jermaine O'Neal are preparing to come back in the game. There is O'Neal, who had 2 offensive fouls that put him on the bench, having played only 6 minutes. And Miller is going to wait a bit before he comes back in, as Crozier goes out.
He must be coming in for Artest, but Caron Butler, you got to hand it to this guy. He has fought Ron Artest, maybe pound for pound, the strongest guy in the NBA. He's fought him tooth and nail throughout this whole series, and he's not giving an inch. He just ripped that ball away from him.
Anthony Johnson, long-range three, tapped by Wade out of bounds, and it was last touched by Indiana, and I'm not sure about that.
He corrected it.
It's Pacers ball. They got it right. That's the main thing.
Either he corrected it or the fans corrected it, or maybe you did.
I don't. They may have a mic, but they don't have an earpiece listening to me. I can tell you that, Rich.
I'll tell you one thing, Johnson pulled the trigger real quickly on that one.
Yes.
Indiana has not been doing that. They've been throwing several passes, probing, looking for the deep jump shot as a second option.
They don't look patient at all, the Pacers. And this is their home court. And here is Anthony Johnson with plenty of time on the shot clock, being shadowed by Dwayne Wade, getting it back from Miller. Here's O'Neal. O'Neal defended by Grant. And Jermaine O'Neal passing open. Johnson wide open, hits the three from the corner.
And that's much better. He got the same deep shot that he was looking for after several passes. He had more time.
And Coach, you know when it's inside and it goes back out, that shot's got a lot better chance of going in.
Anthony Johnson, 8 for 16, shooting 50% from the field in the series. Caron Butler with the fall-away, and O'Neal the rebound.
He had Bender beat there, had him beat, but I believe he was staring into the face of Jermaine O'Neal under the bucket and decided to pull up.
Heat lead is 1. Bender finding O'Neal, and Jermaine O'Neal making his presence felt. Coming back here in the second quarter, the Pacers regain the lead.
And that's an advantage of a long team. It gives you an advantage passing. Bender is over top everybody and throws it to another 7-footer in the corner.
Be very interesting to see Miami's poise in the face of this loud crowd. And the ball knocked away, and it was deflected by Johnson. Alston with the shot clock running out, misses the three.
Great defensive possession by the Pacers.
Pacers by 1. Jonathan Bender forces that. And the rebound by Malik Allen.
That ball had no arch on it, never got above, looked like it never got above the rim. Shot a line drive.
And the possession was very Miami-like for Indiana. Very quick shot.
Good feed into Malik Allen, who has not missed tonight. Malik Allen with another field goal, 4 for 4, and Miami regains the lead.
I don't believe Malik Allen realized he had Reggie Miller on him. He ended up taking about a 10-foot hook shot when he just needed to Bogart his way back into the lane, folks.
They talk about Bogart, and Grant is really leaning on O'Neal when he's playing.
Al Harrington foul as he drives in on the reverse lay-in, and Harrington will go to the line, so it looks like Indiana is going to get some spirited play from Harrington. The personal is on Brian Grant, and that is his second foul. And remember, this is not a defense that Stan Van Gundy has, and he's going to have to go to it now as Lamar Odom will come back in.
How can you not play with more spirit when a player as respected as Larry Bird is says you need to do more?
Well, get an all-access look at the NBA playoffs. Tune in to the NBA TV playoff show, Destination Finals, every weeknight at 6 p.m. only on NBA TV. Harrington, who has struggled from the line, as Rex chronicled, misses the first and the second. So Chance goes by the boards, Heat by 1.
I think it's very important for Miami at this point, Stan Van Gundy, to get Lamar Odom involved offensively. He needs to get a bucket, get something, run the offense through him a little bit, and get him involved in this game on the offensive end.
He's guarded by Anthony Johnson right now, so he's got a mismatch, and the Heat turn it over, so they didn't get the ball to Lamar Odom in time. And Jermaine O'Neal coming back after 2 fouls, contributing for Indiana. Anthony Johnson hitting the three.
And Jermaine O'Neal making his presence felt, makes the assist, and turns right around and makes the jumper, and it's got this Indiana crowd going.
He's been phenomenal. I mean, you know, what he's gone through the last couple of months particularly, really all season, but the last couple of months in this series has been crazy. So he comes in with his knees and back bothering him, and then he gets 12 stitches in, you know, game 3, and then he dislocates his finger in game 4, and who knows what will happen tonight, but he'll just keep going out there and playing as hard as he possibly can. he's just a great, great teammate. I mean, if you look around, he's the kind of guy you want on your side.
You're talking about Stan Van Gundy praising the guy. This is a guy, Brian Graham, who deserves a lot of credit because the cheese is standing alone. He's in the middle of that lane fighting those big, strong Indiana players alone.
Where does he get the energy from? Ginseng, and he started with that early in his career when he was in Sacramento, and for the tired old 35-year-old body, it's working for him.
I was getting ready to say, that's something old men take, isn't it?
I wouldn't know, John.
I would.
Here is Jermaine O'Neal driving in, and trying to follow up was Harrington, and it comes out to Caron Butler. Heat by 1. Nearly 4 minutes gone by. Odom with a great feed to Wade. Deflected inside, and Malik Allen finally misses a shot after hitting his first 4.
Indiana's still doing a superb job, team defensively, closing up, giving support, forcing Miami to beat them from the outside, not letting them inside even on dribble drives.
Now it's Allen and not Grant on Jermaine O'Neal, and O'Neal on the turnaround. Rebound by Caron Butler. Young Miami team, energetic and very exciting to watch, although that time Rafer Alston threw it away.
Well, it was a good idea. Malik, you've got to know Malik Allen, he's kind of a jump shooter, and he's not a guy that's going to flash to the basket. He should have been flashing that time.
Odom defending against O'Neal has no defense against Jermaine O'Neal, who has emerged as a bona fide star in this league.
And this is what we need to keep an eye on, because what's happening now, Lamar Odom has to guard one of these post players, and whoever he is guarding, they're going to go to him in the post.
And the lead going back and forth. We've had 6 lead changes thus far. We have 7:15 remaining in the second. And the long-range shot by Rafer Alston. Malik Allen, the rebound.
Miami's got to make the outside shots. Indiana's daring them to make them. They're closing up. Anytime a penetrator goes through the middle, you see the help coming from the off guard and the off forward.
He double dribbled right there. Rafer Alston did.
No call. Here's Wade on the turnaround. And the rebound by Jonathan Bender. Indiana leading by 1. And Anthony Johnson. Miller going to Bender for 3. Offensive rebound, Harrington, and a foul. And that time, Miami, known for their rebounding, just watched as Indiana came in for the shot, and Allen picking up the foul.
Well, you look at O'Neal. He feels like he's been liberated. Grant is not on him. Odom is now on him. He feels that he can muscle Odom. So he just walks him back under the basket and goes up.
And Al Harrington 1 for 4 from the free throw line, but has come on and been a presence with 6 rebounds for the Indiana Pacers. He was a candidate for 6th Man of the Year honors during the regular year.
Now, this is a big, strong lineup that Indiana has in the game right now. You've got Tinsley and Miller in the backcourt, but you got Harrington, Artest, and O'Neal. All 3 of these guys can post, and I think they're just going to take their pick at the best matchup that they have on the offensive end coming back down.
Hey, that's what John Thompson said at the outset. Inside, go inside.
You've got to go inside early and frequently to make Miami guard you in there.
Odom working in against O'Neal, and a good rebound by the guard, Jamal Tinsley. Here's O'Neal in the lane, feeding Artest, who misses the layup. Out of bounds. It'll go over to Miami.
And you see what else is happening. As a result of Miami having to shoot jump shots and not getting layups, that puts Indiana in a position to have fast break baskets because they're turning those long jump shots into fast break opportunities.
And Artest, who had a playoff career high 28 points in game number 4, is 0 for 5 from the field. But Odom struggling as well. He has missed his first 5 shots.
He really is struggling. Shooting the ball, and now he's complaining about the officiating as well.
Not a good sign.
And he's got to come outside if he's going to get shots because he's not going to be able to muscle with these Indiana players.
O'Neal, turnaround, well done. So Jermaine O'Neal, who spent most of the first quarter on the bench with 2 fouls, now has 9 points to lead all scores and a 5-point Indiana lead.
And this is exactly what we talked about in the open, guys. These prolonged scoring droughts by the Miami Heat. Right now, they're going to the post, Indiana is. They're getting everything and anything that they want inside.
Road problems for Miami, talking about the pace of the game, although even though they have 2 points, their pace has been more to their liking.
The pace has been to their liking. They're not shooting the ball particularly well right now. I think they were up around 45% earlier, but they have gone almost 4 minutes without a basket at the longest point in this game. But I still feel like if they can kind of corral things, harness things back in, get things going in their direction with their pace again, they played a pretty good half, and they're only down 5 right now, which is encouraging.
And since Jermaine O'Neal returned, the Pacers have gone on an 11-2 run over the last 5.5 minutes. O'Neal with 6 points and an assist, sparking them.
And also, since Brian Grant has been sitting on the bench, O'Neal has been liberated.
That's the other side of the coin, John. You're right. 5:20 to go. Eddie Jones picked up by O'Neal on the flash switch. Wade looking for Malik Allen. Wade defended by Tinsley. Tough shot by Wade. Basket counts and a foul. How did he get that one off against the double team?
This kid is just something else. I mean, the strength, the poise that he has for such a young player. Look at this move. I mean, he's bodying a guy that's, a pretty strong kid in Jamal Tinsley, but has the presence of mind to get the ball up on the glass and give himself a chance once he hears the whistle.
And Wade has been the only Miami player that's been able to penetrate this team defense of the Indiana Pacers.
And most of the baskets that he's made are highlight shots. So if you want to get a highlight reel going, just to get Dwayne Wade shooting. Tinsley picking up his second personal foul. And here's Jermaine O'Neal going over to Artest. Artest still trying to get on track. Al Harrington with 6 on the shot clock. Fall away by Harrington. And Odom snares the rebound. Falls down, and Wade, and they're going to call the foul on Al Harrington.
I don't think he ever touched him.
And Bob Delaney claiming he tripped him.
I don't think he ever touched him. We'll see. Dwayne goes after the ball here, and he slaps the ball to himself. I got him. He got him. My apologies to Bob Delaney.
Bob, excuse me. Rex has something to say to you.
I'm sorry, Bob.
Second foul on Al Harrington. So Dwayne Wade at the point.
Well, we never claimed that Rex was a referee.
Right. Allen up front with Caron Butler, Lamar Odom, and Eddie Jones as 4.5 minutes remain. Quick double team on Jermaine O'Neal. Tinsley in the lane, stripped away by Caron Butler. Butler is just incredible in getting the ball away. Eddie Jones hitting the 3. And the Miami Heat have come back and scored 6 in a row to take the lead once more.
That's a big shot there. Big shot's going to force a timeout. And like you said, if they can corral things, get things going back in their favor with the pace, Miami is going to be...
Atlanta, Studio A, the Verizon Wireless halftime report comes your way in just a few minutes. Charles is here, Kenny is here, and so is the Rockets head coach and former TNT colleague Jeff Van Gundy. They'll break down the first half, and we'll look ahead to Game 6 between the Lakers and the Spurs. Dick?
All right, Ernie, and of course the Spurs now have to come back from that excruciating loss as you look at Duncan and O'Neal and how they match up after that excruciating loss on Derek Fisher's shot. But Greg Popovich has said, look, you don't deserve to advance unless you win on the road.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. And what a heavyweight battle that's been. But those two guys, Shaq, Tim Duncan, get Shaq on the weights this summer. Maybe get Tim Duncan to Pete Newell's big man camp. Those two guys got a chance to be pretty good.
Another couple of years, Let's not rush it, Greg. Under 4 minutes to go, and Tinsley going inside and getting the basket is Foster. So here is Jeff Foster, who has been invisible, and they don't rely on him for scoring. 5 for 5 and 10 points, the only player in double figures.
And man, his defense becomes a lot more porous when the big fellas. Speaking of porous, that's the message that Miami wants to get, but you've got to have the big fella in. When he's sitting on the bench over there near the coach, his physicalness helps to clean up things on the inside there.
Eddie Jones getting the lay-in, and Indiana keeping possession with the mid-clock. Tinsley blocked by Allen from behind, gets the basket, Great hustle by Tinsley. Not to be denied. Number is playing with a slightly sprained ankle and a chance for the three-point play. Back it goes to the Pacers lead.
Well, and here comes Brian Grant. And this is what I'm saying. This is what has happened. Stan Van Gundy doesn't have the depth, and particularly the physicalness in there. You see that Indiana is really attacking on the inside. The one thing that Brian Grant gives him is that he can bump some bodies around and lay on some people out there.
And they came out of Indiana came out of that last break, and Jamal Tinsley's gotten in the paint 3 times the last 2 possessions, just breaking down the Heat.
Three-point play, Wells, one of the 2 teams, Rex. Tinsley with the three-point play.
Rex is still refereeing.
35-33. Hasn't apologized to Bob Delaney yet. And Lamar Odom misses. So here's Odom leading the team with 22 in the last game, still scoreless and 0 for 6 from the field. 2:50 remaining, and the long cross-court pass. O'Neal. Foster with the offensive rebound. Well, he's been the MVP thus far for Indiana.
They'd be losing this game if it weren't for Jeff Foster.
Pacers by 2. Tinsley splits the defense.
And there he is into the paint again, breaking this thing down.
And he calls the timeout. You know, that's the new thing. You don't want to get tied up for a jump ball, even if it's the first 2 minutes of the game. Rather not get, it's almost an embarrassment to be tied up, John. You got to call a timeout.
That's right.
And it's the most amazing thing in the world, because I think in a lot of instances it's an absolute waste of timeouts in doing that.
Brian Grant capturing what this series has been thus far.
We're still trying to prove that we belong here and that we are good enough to advance to the next round. But in order to do that, we got to go through the Indiana Pacers, who are a very good team and definitely have the potential to be a championship team. So when you have that working on both sides, then you're going to get emotions spilling over and you're going to get little incidences here and there. But I think if you look at both teams, the character 1 through 15 on both sides is that of hard play and nothing malicious trying to hurt anybody.
Well, Brian Grant he's a solid guy. He's a warrior. But one thing that I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about is the relationship he has with Jermaine O'Neal. I think that's another advantage to why he's able to play him so well, Coach. Jermaine came into the league as a young guy, and Brian kind of brought him into the league.
Batted out by Foster, and the time, and Reggie Miller hits a 3. Reggie Miller taking three-point shots at Conseco Fieldhouse is like Brett Favre throwing touchdown passes at Lambeau Field.
He was here at 4:30 today, warming up. Had a sweat by the time we got here.
I thought it's interesting that Stan Van Gundy said that even when Reggie is missing, he's afraid of him.
And look how the crowd exploded when Miller hit the 3. And if you want home court and home crowd advantage, give the ball to Reggie behind the arc. And the blocking foul against Miami's Eddie Jones, his second.
You know, one of the great accomplishments that Stan Van Gundy has is to get players with this playing personality to hustle as hard as they do. Usually when you see guys, a lot of one-on-one players, guys that are you don't see the energy level that these guys give out for Miami.
And Eddie Jones has to be very careful right now. Reggie made one. He normally will get that call right there.
Tinsley in the lane. There he is, penetrating again.
Jamal Tinsley just breaking these Heat guys down right now.
8-0 run. And Stan Van Gundy. And this is the poise which has to come up for this young team. And Foster called for the blocking foul on Wade. And that is only the third team foul against Indiana with 1:29 remaining in the first half. The next foul against the Heat will result in the penalty.
You can tell Wade is a rookie. Even his flop was delayed. He's just learning how to flop.
He's got a bad flop. You know, that should be in the tendency report. Great player, slasher, can do it all, but a terrible flop.
Flop sweat.
Needs work on his flop.
7-point lead, and the biggest lead the Pacers have enjoyed in this first half with 1:29 to go. Butler will inbound to Odom. Odom still scoreless in this game. Brian Grant hitting from the corner, and a big basket cutting the lead to 5.
don't want to see a player make a basket, but if you want Brian to score, to prove he can score anyway, you want him to take that shot.
Be afraid of Reggie Miller, right? And this is Reggie's game.
And Miller gets hit and the foul, and that'll be the penalty coming up, and the Pacers will go to the line.
Reggie gets hit here, but look at this flop. This is how you flop. Oh, who shot Reggie Miller? My goodness. Now this is Reggie's game. He made a three. He brings attention to himself. And he's going to get that call 90% of the time.
And Caron Butler is saying, look, I'm just not going to move. I'm not going to commit the foul. And there he is, hit with his second.
And I'm betting that he'll make these free throws right now, too.
I bet he will, too. Stan told us this morning he thinks Reggie's going to make every shot. Every one of them he thinks is going in.
I thought it was really amusing. As Stan said, he gained his respect for Reggie Miller, watching him play against his brother and seeing the big shots that he hit when Stan thought the game was over.
He said he has unadulterated fear of that man, and he has broken the hearts of the Knicks when he was rooting for Jeff, when Jeff worked for Pat Riley, and Jeff was the head coach of the Knicks as well. Reggie Miller on the series is 14 of 15 from the line. Again, a 7-point lead. Under a minute remaining. First half.
Oh, tough shot.
Butler missing the three.
Great defense. Great defensive possession. Great challenge by Ron Artest.
And that's the spot that Rick Carlisle wants them to beat them. They want them to have to beat them with long jump shots, not with dribble penetrations, as Miami is so good at doing.
It has been a home court series thus far, and the Indiana Pacers called for the 3-second violation and turning it over.
Al Harrington with the 3 seconds. And that's a costly mistake due to the fact that he can close this gap here and maybe get a little momentum going into halftime.
And if they get the shot up quickly, it could be a 2-for-1. Not anymore. Here is Dwayne Wade going up, and the blocking foul called against Al Harrington. And that will send Wade to the line. Harrington's third personal foul. This is the first of a big doubleheader tonight on TNT. Later on, the Spurs and the Lakers in Game 6. Lakers trying to wrap it up, but the Spurs will have something to say about that. And the Lakers' karma seems to be making the big shot at the big time at the end.
Yeah, I think so. They need to try to put this thing away at home tonight, because they certainly don't want to go back to San Antonio.
And Foster going to the bench, replaced by Crozier, and Brian Grant will sit down as Malik Allen goes back to the bench. Dwayne Wade's numbers, 10 points and 4 assists thus far. And a terrific rookie, and LeBron James didn't get into the playoffs. Carmelo Anthony went out in the first round, and here, deep into the second round, Dwayne Wade.
The Heat need to be very careful here, and nobody needs to take their eye off Reggie Miller.
6-point lead for the Pacers. Final seconds of the first half. And Ron Artest, cat and mouse with Caron Butler, lays it in. Still time for Miami. Biggest lead right now of the game. And here is Butler hitting the three. Caron Butler with a big 3-point basket. And that will cut the lead to 5 at the end of the first half. The Pacers, however, who trailed after 1, lead the Miami Heat by a score of 44-39.
Just what the Heat needed going into halftime to close this thing to 5. Great outlet pass by Butler. Dwayne Wade rewards him. Big shot going into halftime to close this lead, and Miami has to feel pretty good about themselves.
Well, I love their body language. They're a team that's fed on emotions, but they still are staying tough here.
Let's right now go over to Charles Davis.
All right, thanks, Dick. Jeff Foster, you're known for your defense and your rebounding, but the first half, you showed a heck of an offensive game. By design or just part of the flow?
Just part of the offense. Got involved. Jamal did a good job of finding me and some of the other guys, and just trying to stay active and help this team win any way possible.
A lot of chatter out of the Pacers camp between games 4 and 5 about getting back to basics, especially on the defensive end. What does that mean, and was the mission accomplished in the first half?
What we've done right now, we're trying to keep from penetrating, getting middle on us, and just playing a team defense concept that's got us right where we are today. 61 wins and home court advantage.
All right, good luck in the second half, Jeff. All right, Dick, back to you.
All right, Charles, and 4 of those 9 rebounds were off the offensive glass. The Verizon Wireless halftime report. Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, and Charles Barkley right now.
Thank you, Dick, and we are joined tonight by the head coach of the Houston Rockets and former TNT colleague, Jeff Van Gundy. Welcome to the Verizon Wireless halftime report. And it's kind of universal here when something like that happens at the end of the half. All 3 of you guys, oh, that was huge, that was huge. Caron Butler burying this jumper as time expires, Jeff.
It just gives you something positive going into halftime that you cut it down to 5. It just seems so much more manageable than 8.
Hey, what's the first thing you do when you're handed a box score? What's the first thing as a coach you do that you look at the half?
Well, I like to look at transition points, giving up second shots, effort type of points. I thought that was the biggest key. Jeff Foster in the first half, I thought his energy to the offensive board plus Tinsley's penetration gave Indiana a great boost. 10 points and 9 rebounds for Foster, a guy averaging 3 points and 7 rebounds in the series so far. What'd you think about the first 24?
Well, it kind of went to form if you looked at the game 3 and 4, because Dwayne Wade was able to still get into the lane and penetrate, get baskets for himself. Lamar Odom was a little slow. He really wasn't hitting the outside shot. One of the things I think Lamar has to do, he gets the ball in I call a mid-post. He's not really posted up, and he's not really outside. He's like in between. He's in like no man's land. And so he doesn't cause double teams. He doesn't get people to double team him. He has to either decide to get on the post or go outside where he can drive in, have a lot more room. I think that would be more effective for him.
I think Indiana's got to feel very good. Between Ron Artest and Al Harrington, they're 2 for 12. They still got a lead. I do think that was a big basket because the next basket would have been 10 or 11. Now the next basket is 3 or 4. So, but I still, Indiana's got to feel real confident because they didn't really play that well the first quarter. They played better in the second. And I still like them to win tonight.
They are up 44-39. What do you think your brother's saying to the Heat at the half?
Well, I think he's got to feel good as well. I think playing close. I think what they have to do, they have to make one of these games close enough down the stretch so that a bad break goes against Indiana or a bad call or a bounce of the ball or one good shot by them can put them over the top. They're not going to come in here to Indiana against that quality team, you know, and get a 10 or 12-point win. It's going to have to be at the end of the game. And so they just got to hang close.
5-point game at the break, 44-39. Still to come tonight on TNT. Game 6 in L.A., the Spurs and the Lakers.
In Game 5, Hollywood could not have written a better ending. From ecstasy.
Top of the key, jumper off balance. It's good. He hit it.
To agony.
Gets it to Fish at the buzzer. Got it. Got it.
In 0.4 seconds. Spurs-Lakers Game 6. Following Game 1. Win or go home.
The Halftime Report is brought to you by Verizon Wireless, the official wireless provider of the...
We'd like to shoot better. We've been very inconsistent. We can't turn it over 18 times and give them 24 points off turnovers and shoot in the 50s from the line. So, you know, if we do those things better, we got a great opportunity to win because we're going to go guard. But those are some things that are tough to control. You know, we just have to keep guys aggressive. Because you didn't shoot well doesn't mean you stop shooting. Let that baby fly. We've had a lot of great shots, and some of them got to go down to win in the playoffs. And we got to take care of the ball. If we do that, then we got a shot.
All right, so it's Game 6 on TNT a little bit later tonight, and the Lakers with a chance. They've done it 10 times in a row and close out games.
Well, let's just go home then.
No, but tonight it's the world champs in town trying to stay alive. So what are we looking for tonight? I'll go to you first, Coach. In case we run out of time, I'd rather hear from you than Charles.
Well, I think the way they lost is so devastating. Just like last year with L.A. L.A. went home and got blown out. I think San Antonio will put up a much better fight. I think it'll be all the way to the end. I think the Lakers will win it.
The open shots that Greg Popovich has talked about and knocking down jumpers. Is this going to happen tonight in the other guy's gym?
Yeah, they're going to get the shots because they're going to obviously be aggressive against Tony coming off the pick and rolls. They're going to double Tim in the post. They accepted after game 1 and 2. They couldn't stop those guys. They getting good shots. I've watched every game this series. They're getting good shots. And that's all you can do. Sometimes they go in, sometimes they don't. But I expect the Spurs, because of their defense, they're going to be in the game. Anytime you play defense that good and you got Tim Duncan, you're going to be in the game.
Man, give me 2 of those right now.
But that's all you want as a coach. I bet if you ask Jeff, Can he get those shots? That's all you want as a coach. There's nothing better than an open
You
shot.
could ask him yourself.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think your offense can't make shots. Your offense can create good shots, and when it creates good shots, and really what the Lakers are saying after first two games was, we're going to bet that the perimeter shooting, the open three-point shots are not going to go. We're taking away Parker, we're taking away Duncan, and we're going to live with the rest.
The funny feeling I have tonight.
That's gas.
Nah, no, that was you. That was you earlier. But the funny feeling I have is really that the Lakers might not come out with the intensity, thinking that it's over. And I really think the Spurs will come in and play well tonight. And this might not be as close as we think. That's what I'm thinking.
Will you be wearing the fishing hat at night's end?
I'm pulling for the Spurs because I want to see, because this is the NBA championship game. I want to see Game 7. I think it'd be so great to have Game 7 Wednesday night on TNT.
Look at you. The one-man promo department.
What's that? What's that?
Kenny, you don't even...
I almost said something about your mama there.
I almost did too.
Your sweet mama.
Back with more on the Verizon Wireless halftime report.
I love your mama. She got cable?
In just a moment.
Your dad cheat.
Yeah, he is.
Here's Ron Artest. Ron Artest just 1 for 6.
Well, you going to show the only basket he made?
But the Pacers leading by 5.
You're the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you. I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world.
A wistful look, we might say, of the way things are going in this series as the Indiana Pacers lead Miami 44-39 at halftime, along with Rex and John. And John said it early. He says the Indiana has to go inside, and they've done that. They've gone on the line 7 more times. They've changed the rebounding story. They have a plus 12 in rebounds, 6 in offensive rebounding. That's why you're the coach, baby.
That's right. And don't you forget it.
I will not.
You know, the funny thing, though, Miami scares me. You know, because these guys just stay close enough, and I think they're overachieving, but you better not let them get close enough that it comes down the end to the last minute.
And here's our look at our Jeep game summary. The shooting percentage is even, but the rebounding story we've talked about and the rest. Rex, how do you see it?
Well, I see it. Indiana's got to keep doing what they're doing. Miami, though, this is all about energy and effort for them. And
Dick, I think Coach their assistant coach coming out after the break, and he said we're getting off the boards. That's something that's unusual for us in this series because we won the rebounding battle in the previous 4 games.
Foul. Reggie, a deeper look at the Indiana scoring, and Al Harrington 5 off the bench, but he has 3 personal fouls.
well, I think the thing that stands out at you right there is Ron Artest. He's only got 1 field goal. He's got 4 points. And they need to get him going, just as Miami needs to get Otis going.
And I think that's a tribute to the Miami defense, the way Stan has him just jumping on Artest once he gets the ball.
And here's Caron Butler against Artest, throws the ball over the head of Odom, and now Bob Delaney indicates deflected off of a Pacer.
I believe it was a good call, and if that's kind of my way of apologizing to Bob Delaney.
You know, you really want to see Miami at times pass more than they dribble, but every time they pass, you say, go back to dribbling again.
I want to see a real apology here. Here's Brian Grant, and the 24-second clock expires. And 5-point lead, and Indiana ball on the shot clock violation. Stan Van Gundy, who got a lot of votes in the Coach of the Year honors that went to Hubie Brown, much deserved by Hubie, but Van Gundy, what a job he did. And, you know, Miami barely making the playoffs, it seemed, and then with New Orleans and Milwaukee faltering late, ended up with the home court advantage, paid off. They beat New Orleans 4 games to 3 in the opening round. Foster keeps it up.
Great pass by Jamal Tinsley there to find Foster, but you're exactly correct. Stan Van Gundy's a fabulous coach. I had the pleasure of being with him for a year when I was down in Miami 8 or 9 years ago, and he's a basketball junkie. He knows what he's doing.
And Foster, career playoff high, 12 points, and early in this third quarter. Here is Odom, and he finally breaks into the scoring column to cut the lead to 5.
That's good to see there. Lamar Odom could have teed up a 3 there, even shot a 15-footer, but probed and got himself all the way to the basket.
And the Heat trying to keep Tinsley out of the lane, and Miller being guarded by Jones, and on the runner, no way to stop that one.
No way to stop that one. And Eddie Jones very lucky that he didn't get called for a defensive foul there, and send Reggie Miller to the line for a 3-point play.
Wade going down low to Odom. Dishes off into the hands, though, of Reggie Miller. Tinsley tripped by Eddie Jones, and that'll be his third. 3 on Eddie Jones.
You see Jamal Tinsley with a terrific pass. He's really gotten very good at that. Nice finish by Foster. And here you go, Reggie with the little runner. Don't see Reggie shoot too many runners anymore, but he's still got it in his game.
You got to give Tinsley a lot of credit, too, because how he's got his game under control. It's not easy to play when you have the kind of talent he has within the system. Yeah. He's staying within the system, penetrating, and also setting up.
Miller to Foster. Reggie Miller with a quick bounce pass, and Foster, and a timeout called by Miami. Foster 7 for 7. He had a total of 11 points in this series. Coming into this game, he has 14 and a 52-43
and just
lead, the biggest.
Great pass from Reggie Miller. Falling down, great catch by Jeff Foster. He's carrying him offensively right now when the rest of them are struggling a little.
What's Miami's answer? We'll find out.
Jeff Foster having a career night right now. 9 big rebounds in the first half, carrying them offensively, and he's just making himself available. When double teams are coming, he's setting good screens, rolling to the basket, and finishing well.
Dick Stockton, Rex Chapman, John Thompson, and Charles Davis with you, and Jeff Foster giving the Pacers a big shot in the arm. Especially when you consider Reggie Miller, a lot of people expected much of, has taken only 4 shots tonight. So let's see what Miami does for an answer. Dwayne Wade, how about that for an immediate reply?
Well, and I think that's what has to happen. Dwayne Wade has to become offensively aggressive, make them commit towards him, set up as a second option other player.
Tinsley guarded by Wade. Here's Reggie Miller. Foster sees the clock, 6 on it. 5 knocked away. The steal is made, and a jump ball. So no timeout, which is rare on those instances, and Eddie Jones will jump for Miami.
Foster kind of went to sleep on Reggie that time. He said it was my fault, and he's absolutely correct, but he's also smart because anytime a big guy receives a pass from somebody and doesn't catch it, he needs to say it's my fault, so they'll keep throwing it.
5-inch height advantage for Foster here.
He's going to go to the guy that jumps the quickest and gets up there first.
Well, see, and this is where Miami has nothing to lose by violating the rule. Anytime it's a disadvantage like this, why wait for the referee? Go quick. The worst you can get is them to take the ball out of bounds, and you have a chance to set your defense up.
And Reggie Miller is signaling jump ball.
Saying it's a possession, but Brian Grant actually had possession, so they're going to reset to 24.
And the Pacers will inbound. He should have had palms up indicating the clock. Here is Caron Butler with the steal. So the Miami Heat with Wade getting that first basket, cutting a lead to 52-45. And there's Odom in the low post against Foster on test doubling. And a 3-second violation called against Miami.
You know, Odom is not strong enough to post up against the big physical players of Indiana. I think Kenny Smith was absolutely correct when he said that little mid-corner or turn around and face to utilize his quickness and his shooting ability.
And Jim Clark calling the foul now. Tight. Odom with the second personal foul. This is the first of two big ones tonight. Game 6 will unfold later on from the Staples Center as the Spurs go against the Lakers right here on TNT. 10 on the shot clock. Grant defending against O'Neal, who goes in and gets the lay-in. O'Neal very aggressive with the ball that time.
And it might have been the first time that he's been able to get to the goal on Grant, because Grant is making him pay a price for every time he tries to post up. That's why he picked up the early fouls. He tried to retaliate.
And here's Wade going around Foster with a turnaround and trying to keep it alive as Brian Grant successfully as his last touch by Indiana. The Pacers, by the way, going back to the last 2 minutes of the second quarter, have hit their last 8 shots from the field and are shooting 49% for the game.
Well, it was good to see him go back into Jermaine O'Neal. They'd gotten away from that for a little while and had some success, but that's their bread and butter, and that was the first time he's really touched the ball in 4 minutes.
Meanwhile, Miami at 43%, and Foster now with a double-double, 14 points, 10 rebounds, and Reggie Miller fouled by Caron Butler.
And Brian Grant and O'Neal. Brian Grant, who brought Jermaine O'Neal into this league as a 17-year-old youngster. So they've got a special friendship, and sometimes like that, you can show a guy like Brian Grant too much respect when you play against him, and I think that's what Jermaine does from time to time.
Well, you tend to overcompensate, as he did earlier on the offensive end, and start to plow back in and pick up 2 cheap offensive fouls. Most coaches hate to see you pick up offensive fouls if you're one of their key players. They don't mind it as much if it's on the defensive end.
And I've just got to say, the one thing with Reggie, that the move that he just made there, as we see what he's done the last few games, the most frustrating thing about guarding that guy is that if he gets a little step on you, he allows you to catch up where you bump him, and then he flops a little bit and gets the shot up anyway and gets the call.
That's the savvy of a Reggie Miller in his 17th year out of UCLA. First double-digit lead in the game, enjoyed by the Pacers, 56-45.
An awfully dangerous time for Miami right now. They need to try to keep it in single digits, and this isn't going to help their cause.
Can't rely on the outside shot exclusively, and that's what they've been doing lately with Brian Grant and Eddie Jones. O'Neal with a turnaround, and the rebound by Caron Butler up ahead to Dwayne Wade. Miller now is on Wade. And Wade putting the move on out of bounds and saved by Miller. Nice play by Reggie.
None of the Miami players are going to the offensive board but the shooter. They're quick enough to get quick rebounds and get putbacks.
And that's why they have out-rebounded Indiana coming into this game, because of their quickness. But Miller has it knocked away from behind. Tinsley with 4 on the shot clock with a runner. Foster tips it in. Jeff Foster with 16 points already, well over his career playoff high. And 5 offensive rebounds of the 11. What a boost they're getting from Foster. And a big second chance point hit of 13 for the Pacers.
Just daring Lamar Odom to go right. Daring him.
Odom gets the basket and the foul. It'll be against Foster. And a chance for the 3-point play for Lamar Odom.
Dwayne Wade, what a crossover. It just doesn't have enough right there to finish the shot. And here we go again with Jeff Foster. A little teardrop from Tinsley. And Foster right where he always is with his head right underneath that goal.
And that shows the value of a penetrating guard, who I think is second in importance to a big, strong 7-foot post-up guy who knows what he's doing on the block, because he creates so much help situations for the defense that he's able to get weak side rebounding from his team as well as dish offs.
And Lamar Odom cannot convert, and it is the Pacers by 11 as we approach the halfway mark here in the third quarter. Dick Stockton with you along with Rex Chapman, John Thompson, and Charles Davis here at Conseco Fieldhouse. Game 5 of the best-of-7 Eastern semifinal. The home team has won all the games thus far. Jermaine O'Neal with 13 now and matching the biggest lead for Indiana.
Beautiful move. Looked like Jermaine got away with a little shuffle there, but this crowd, he's got this crowd into it, as do all of these Pacers, and it's a very, very dangerous time for the Miami Heat.
Ron Butler getting up his dribble. 7 on the shot clock. Tough shot from the corner by Jones, who had Tinsley in his face.
You're right, Coach. They have no offensive rebounding.
And Artest with the basket and the foul. Ron Artest and the Pacers, who won their first 6 playoff games by double-digit leads, really piling in on that.
Tinsley looking ahead to Artest, and Artest, who's been relatively quiet, getting into the mix. Warning time for Miami. Danger, danger.
You have to give Tinsley an awful lot of credit in how he's orchestrating this offense now, because he's also getting baskets off of the drive as well as setting up other people.
Grant, with his 3rd foul, goes to the bench, replaced by Al. One more exciting chapter of the playoff script. Thumbs up. Hey, we know 3 overtime drama. How about the Nets Pistons last night? We were there.
Who said games had to have a winner and a loser? If ever there was a game that ought to end in a tie, this was one of them. That was just a great game.
It was a great game, and it was an instant classic, much like quite a few of the NBA games have been the last week. 3 overtimes. Both these teams were worn out. In the immortal words of Rasheed Wallace, both teams played hard.
Teams worn out. The custodians were worn out. The referees were worn out. We were worn out.
And potentially another great one coming up, as San Antonio never faced elimination in their title run last year. They do tonight at the Staples Center. Ron Artest with a chance for the 3-point play, but the biggest lead of the game right now, 62-47 for Indiana. Still enough time for Miami to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but they've got a lot of work to do. Caron Butler and the air ball, rushing that shot.
Well, the frustration, you're rushing it because the defense is still collapsing and closing off. They're taking away the layup option.
Pacers have scored on 8 of their 11 possessions here in this quarter. It's an incredible percentage. Miller with 6 on the shot clock draws the foul. Rayford Alston, who has come into the game, fouls Reggie Miller. He knows how to do that.
And how about this? I thought Reggie's a pro. Look at this. I mean,
what?
You get in trouble.
Steve Lyons. It's another
right
Steve Lyons.
In the middle of the court. I mean, you get in trouble in a lot of places for less than that.
Steve Lyons did that. Former Red Sox and White Sox player who's now an outstanding analyst for.
But he has an undergarment on, right? I mean,
well, we hope so. John, he wouldn't have done that without John. He would not have done that.
Rayford Alston and Reggie got into it a little bit on the foul. I think Reggie felt like Rayford gave him a little something when he went a little extra something when he came down on top of him, and Bob Delaney tried to clear things up a little bit.
You pointed out he came out early and he was focused on shooting when he came out early, and he has come on and looks like a man with a mission. In this year's playoff, he is at 26 of 27 from the line. Foster going out of the games, and Foster with a big game, 16 points and 11 rebounds.
And not only did he come out early at the beginning of the game, Dick, he also was the first one out at halftime, out here shooting before any of his teammates got out here.
And Reggie also, he is an unbelievable competitor who is here early every night.
Well, this game following the pattern for the Miami Heat on the road as Wade has his shot blocked by Artest. And a timeout was called And for Miami, their pattern has been slow starts. Wasn't that slow in this game. And then they fall way behind and rally and come up short. There was the jump ball call right here.
This could get ugly for Miami. They've got to get control of this somehow, get this ball game back in their pace, up and down the court, get some easy baskets, get in transition.
And it's easy to see what Rick Carlisle has told his team. He's told them if these guys are going to beat us, they're going to beat us with long jump shots. There's no way we're going to let them dribble and drive to the basket or post up inside. Make them beat you outside.
And taking a look at the road problems, why Miami has gone 0-5. There they are. And
they need to get more fast break points. As we said in the open, they've got to get it up and down the court. 40% shooting is down a little bit from where they are normally in this series. And they've been on some scoring droughts, that's for sure.
And it's very difficult to get fast break points against a layup-making team. And that's what Indiana's doing. They're punching inside, punching inside. You get your fast break baskets off of steals as well as getting them off of rebounds.
And Butler will inbound. Butler with Wade. Malik Allen is into the game. Lamar Odom and Rafer Alston. Allen against Jermaine O'Neal. And Reggie Miller had the rebound and was snared away by Lamar Odom.
Miami's defense is terrific right now. They're forcing Indiana's defense is terrific right now. They're forcing Miami into very tough shots. That's a rare second chance opportunity they're getting right here.
Turnover, and there it is. And Miller is hit by Odom, and no foul is called, but it's knocked out of bounds, and the Pacers will get possession.
And you see here, the Pacers defense, everybody's helping, everybody's alert. Miami's got to figure out a way to right the ship.
And Indiana's defense holding the Heat to 39% shooting. They've turned it over 11 times as well. And a 3-second violation. We've had a lot of 3-second calls tonight, guys.
We have.
An awful lot of them. You know, Odom might want to take a page out of Jermaine O'Neal's book. Might want to step off on the perimeter because they're not going to give him that inside shot. Use his medium-range jumper, use his penetration, and use his passing ability.
Odom with 4. Well below what he has scored in the series. Here he is. This Al Harrington, who's come into the game, and a defensive 3-second violation against the Indiana Pacers. So chance for a technical free throw and possession. Jonathan Bender will replace Reggie Miller, who goes out of the game. Miller with 13 points.
You know, Rick said it early in the game, and he's absolutely correct. If you're Carlisle right now, you're not as concerned about that call because the whole point of their defense is to take away the inside, rhythmically, weak side players, weak side guards, forwards, retreat in the direction of the ball. You're going to get called a couple of times.
Yeah, I think it's very significant here that you see Ron Artest guarding Dwayne Wade. Rick Carlisle informed us he wanted to do more of that tonight. They've had very good success with it thus far in the game.
Well, with a big lead, you're not under pressure to do anything. And Tinsley now with his 3rd personal. And the Pacers with 3 team fouls. The Heat already over the limit. And Anthony Johnson will come in replacing Tinsley, who goes out, having scored 7 points and has 7 assists as well.
I agree with you, Coach. I think that they need to get Lamar Odom going, but I do think he needs to come off the block a little bit. Come off the block and use his quickness.
He needs to step out and face it.
Odom, quick play, driving with his left hand. Odom now with 6 points and a 14-point lead for the Indiana Pacers, who during the regular year 34-7 here at Conseco Fieldhouse. Jonathan Bender behind Artest, guarded by Caron Butler. And here's Bender for 3. O'Neal on the weak side converts. And a foul. Jermaine O'Neal, who now has 15 points. And the Pacers are up by 16.
Well, Jermaine O'Neal, as you see, he's right there to gobble up the offensive board, and that's just pure strength right there. And don't be late. Don't be late closing out on Lamar Odom, they call him the goods for one reason. He's got the goods, and he's one of the more unique covers in this league. I put him right there with Shaq, Nowitzki, Garnett, Kidd, but Lamar Odom's right there. He's such a unique guy at 6'10" and can do so many different things on the basketball floor. He's really turned his career around this year.
As a point forward, in that sense.
And I really don't mind a guy doing that if he's 6'10", as long as he doesn't forget that he's 6'10". That's what I like about O'Neal. He'll go in and block shots. He'll go to the basket and do a lot of his rough, dirty work under that. A lot of these guys go outside, Dick, and never go back inside.
And that's the name of the game. And you know it, John, and you talked about it early. That's what Indiana needed to do to get back to the way they had played. A two-point field goal attempt by Jones. Brian Grant getting the offensive rebound, but at second chance points, it's been all Pacers. They have a +16 in second chance points against the Miami Heat.
Well, that's because it's just one red shirt, and that was Brian Grant on the offensive board.
6 on the shot clock. Here's Odom going in against Harrington, blocked by Jermaine O'Neal.
Lamar, they're just forcing him to his right hand, and he really struggles going that way. Hey, look up, Eddie.
Ron Artest losing the ball. And here is Caron Butler, and he will go to the line, shooting 2. Big lead for the Pacers with 2:06 left in the third.
Really forcing Lamar Odom right, but look who's there. Artest, O'Neal, he's running into a wall of Pacers. The Pacers are very alert right now and playing very good basketball.
Well, the Miami Heat have a long way to go to try to force.
Still to come tonight here on TNT, the San Antonio Spurs and the Lakers. Karl Malone in L.A. trying to close out the reigning NBA champions in Game 6 of the Western Conference semifinals. Tim Duncan and the Spurs trying to send it back to San Antonio. Dick?
I think Tim Duncan's listening to you, Ernie, and that with that headset, as you look at NBA playoff history, and the odds are slim for road teams. In Games 5, only 25%, and only 17% in Games 7 in history.
They're slim for some road teams, but those are 2 heavyweights right there, boy.
Oh, they are.
And I think either one of them, Dick, as you know, is capable of beating the other one on their own home court.
You're absolutely right, and the Spurs did it, beating L.A. late in the season, and we know what the Lakers did to the Spurs the other night.
You know, I got to just get this off my chest. I've been holding it in for almost a quarter here. I listened to Charles and Kenny at halftime, listened to the halftime show, and I thought they were hard. I thought they were tough and brought their same game every night, but they don't. Jeff Van Gundy's there, and they got punked tonight. It's like their parents are in the room. They're not saying anything, not joking around. I was really disappointed. And please, Ernie, integrate the set a little bit.
Well, So you think that they're a little intimidated by Jeff?
They're very intimidated. They're soft tonight. They are extremely soft.
You wouldn't think that about Jeff Van Gundy, that he would intimidate a guy like Charles Barkley, but who knows, you know?
Soft as church music.
I'm going to leave that one alone. This is where Jermaine O'Neal is tough, though, and that's what Kenny made reference to. When he faces up, it is very difficult for a guy his size to guard him with him have the lateral movement.
And you know Jermaine's feeling it when he's running back down the floor, shaking his head like that, like nobody can guard me. And he's right now.
9 this quarter.
And he got that basket. Odom got that basket off of a cut, not off of a dribble. And it was not easy for Indiana to collapse on him because he utilized the cut and not the dribble.
You're exactly right, Coach. And they need to get him on more cuts. They need to get him where he's moving toward the ball, where he can catch it and go quickly.
Brandon O'Neal on the floor.
The thing you got to give this Miami team a lot of credit, and I've always felt that they're an overachiever, is the fact that I don't think they quit. These kids do not have any quit. You better be really careful in thinking that this game is over, and I'm certain nobody does based on how the other playoff games have gone. But these kids are too cocky to go away easily.
Exactly right.
Alston's foul, and O'Neal misses the first free throw. It's 69-54. And after the first quarter lead, in which the Heat were up 21-19, been a 19-point edge for the Pacers since then. Missing both from the free throw line is O'Neal, with 1:15 remaining in the third.
And got Ray Ralston in right now running the point. You'd expect to see Dwayne Wade back at any time, and I expect him to play off the ball some when he comes back.
Turnaround by Butler, the air ball, and Brian Grant with a nifty save. Austin behind his back, but could not even get the shot up.
And there's a wall behind him. He went behind his back with a wall, and Indiana players gravitated towards that ball.
45 seconds remaining in the third, and here is Anthony Johnson feeding Al Harrington for the basket, and the Indiana Pacers giving an indication of why they won 61 games, more than any team in the league.
And that's a prime example of ball movement. They're moving the ball around. They've got guys running out, closing out. Miami's running out and closing out of control, and you're able to break the guy down and get into the paint.
And Lamar Odom fouled and will go to the line, and we saw the big edge in the paint for the Pacers.
Poor close out there by Caron Butler, which opens up a lane, and terrific pass by Anthony Johnson.
And it's been a rough night for Stan Van Gundy, and this man has made it a rough night for him as Jeff Foster replaces Jermaine O'Neal, goes out with 18 points, 8 rebounds. And Foster back in there has 16 points. So the big men getting the job done. Big man John Thompson.
Well, and that's what they should have done. They're doing exactly what they should have done. You're trying to take advantage of the weaknesses of the Miami team. You don't come out here and start shooting up a lot of long jump shots. You go in frequently and you go in early in the middle, put pressure on them on the inside. They did exactly what they should have done on defense. Take away from the inside penetration drive of the Miami team and force them to beat you outside.
But John, isn't that the fundamental basketball that every team would like to do in every game?
Well, a lot of teams would like to do it, but that's why only these teams are in the playoffs, because they will do what they have to do in order to win. And other teams who won't are home watching them now.
Rozier entered the game, replacing Johnson, feeding Foster, who lays it in. And Foster has not missed. He is 9 for 9 from the field.
And Jeff Foster is working on a perfect game. 9 for 9, that's something else. I know I never would have gone 9 for 9. I'd have had a few heat checks in there somewhere along the line.
If you take long range shots, he won't. He'll take medium range shots. That's the end of the third quarter. And this is a big crowd. The smile on the face of Jeff Foster tells you what's going on here as the Indiana Pacers leading 73 to 55. It's their biggest lead of the game, and they outscore the Heat 29 to 16 in the third. Heat in the best of 7 Eastern Conference playoff, where the home team has been the Kings in every game, and the starting front court for Indiana of Artest, O'Neal, and Foster have outscored the starting front court of Miami, Butler, Odom, and Grant, by 18 points, and that's the lead they have as we start the fourth.
It's very important for the Indiana Pacers to keep their focus right now. They can't get careless and start doing stupid things, because this Miami team is capable of coming back. And you know what? They're young enough not to be afraid.
You're exactly right, Coach. And I think it's very important right now that people realize that this is a young team, and they're in a hostile environment. Foster with the rebound. Danger time.
Jonathan Bender and now Ron Artest. 5-0 start to this fourth quarter, and it's 78 to 55. 23-point lead, and Jeff Van Gundy says, let's call a halt, or Stan Van Gundy, that is, right now.
Foster gets it started with the active hands, and is there anybody else in this building that didn't think that this shot was going in?
Indiana's defense stopping 60% of Miami's forays, and that has been the key tonight. But you know, guys, it's ironic that the first time the Pacers don't control the first quarter, they open up a 23-point lead. And as they did in game number 1, game number 2 led by 22, and a foul there. So they don't get the first quarter, but they have a huge lead now early in the fourth.
Those percentages confuse me a little bit. All I know is Miami's getting their butts kicked right now. And look at this defense. Ron Artest, Indiana, the Heat have to feel like there's about 7 defenders out there for Indiana. But I think what's going on, this is a prime example of a young team in a hostile environment. They win the first quarter by 2 points. and then they lose the next quarter by 7, lose the next quarter by 13, and they're on the verge of a rout right now, and they just got to where they were feeling too good about themselves early and thought they'd shown up and done their job.
Well, and you're talking about an extremely talented and deep Indiana team, too. I've always felt that Miami has overachieved, and for which Stan Van Gundy deserves a lot of credit. But I don't think many teams can come in here and play Indiana too well, as good as this team is. Very good point.
And don't forget, Miami, did they lose this game? And on the turnover, Butler feeding Eddie Jones, Crozier cutting him off. Remember, the Miami Heat have won 18 straight at home. So this series not over. This is just one game if Indiana does well. 78-57.
You're not going to beat that defense with the drive off of the dribble drive. Cuts have been more successful. Grant was able to pick up the foul in the last possession by cutting.
Crozier hitting, and the Pacers have hit their last 7 shots after earlier hitting 8 in a row. So talk about a streak shooting team tonight.
And no excuse for that by Lamar Odom. He's got to know that's what Oscar Crozier wants to do. He wants to shoot the basketball. If he doesn't do that, he's going to drive right.
There is Odom going in, a tough basket and a foul. So Odom, who got a late start in the scoring department, did not score till the second half, now has 11 as Artest committing his 3rd.
But you like what he did. I mean, he's still competing. He's still going to the basket aggressively, even though he's being doubled and triple teamed. It's very difficult for him with the body that he has to withstand a lot of the pushing and shoving that he's going to get. Indiana's putting in fresh players now.
Lamar Odom with a 3-point play. He has 12, leading scorer in a balanced offense tonight, whatever the offense is for Miami. Wade and Odom each with 12. Grant and Jones each have 10. A little more than 2 minutes elapsed here in the 4th quarter. Austin Crozier beating Anthony Johnson. Crozier for 2. And the offensive rebound by Foster. What a game for Foster. 6 offensive rebounds, but on the turnover, here come the Heat, and the 3-point basket by Eddie Jones, who is 3 for 5 from downtown, and it's now a 17-point game, and Rick Carlisle calls a timeout, and I think it's a smart timeout.
A very smart timeout, because it's a...
Is nothing. Foster is perfect tonight, 9 for 9. Of course, not a record. He become the 13th player if he ends up in a perfect shooting night. That's the Gatorade X Factor tonight.
It's a great atmosphere. Great atmosphere.
Hoosier hysteria, boys.
Hey,
I know you're Kentucky, but
yeah, Hoosiers basketball is not bad. Not bad. They're like little brothers.
NBA or college, it's great. And high school as well. Here is Jonathan Bender hitting a 3. Jonathan Bender with his second 3. And again, a 20-point lead for the Pacers.
And Indiana needed that basket, even though they're up by 20. That's why Rick Carlisle, he was trying to stop the little bit of the momentum that Miami was picking up.
And here's Odom working low against Foster, put his body in, and Grant with the offensive rebound, scramble, and too many Pacers there, and a foul called against the Pacers with 8:49 remaining in the 4th, and that is the second on Anthony Johnson.
It's blatantly obvious when you see Lamar Odom catch the ball like that. One, he's not strong enough yet to play in the post. I don't know that he ever will be. He may be more of a perimeter finesse type of player, but also he's extremely left-handed and really needs to work on going right, finishing, having something where he can finish a little bit going right.
Here's Wade, and it drops for him. So Dwayne Wade, who is getting his first taste of playoff action in his first year. The rookie from Marquette has 14 points. 18-point lead for the Indiana Pacers. They have had leads high as 23 in this game. And in their 2 home wins prior to this, they also led by 22 and 23 respectively. And again, the 20-point lead thanks to Jermaine O'Neal, who has 20.
Well, this is what you want to see. You want to really see what Indiana is capable of putting these guys away, because they're going to have to be smart as they go further in the playoffs if they're successful as it appears they will be against Miami.
Deron Butler blocked by Jermaine O'Neal, and the foul is called as O'Neal and Bender were there, as right now with a 20-point lead. Let's send it to Atlanta and Ernie Johnson. Ernie.
All right, thank you very much, Dick. Still to come tonight, the San Antonio Spurs and the Los Angeles Lakers. Tony Parker in the first 2 games of this series averaged 25 points and shot 50%. In the next 3 games, all Laker wins, 14 points a game, 34% from the field. That's game 2 of our doubleheader. Dick?
All right, Ernie, and what they did, the Lakers, of course, is that they would not let Tony Parker penetrate, and they had a lot of bodies on him when he got into the paint.
And he did everything he wanted to do in games 1 and 2, and it wasn't until they got a little bit physical with him, knocked him down a couple times, and he really needs to respond tonight because they've really taken it to him the last 3 games.
A little bit physical. They got acquainted.
Yes, they did.
21 years old, Tony Parker from France, handling the point guard duties, and it's 85-67. Deron Butler with the free throws has 9 points. Under 8 minutes remaining here in the fourth. After the first quarter, it has been all Indiana in game 5. And O'Neal fouled by Wade. And that is the first team foul against Miami here in the fourth quarter, although that is not significant considering the big bolts that Indiana has.
And Indiana is staying in their offense, and that's a very good sign, as opposed to getting overconfident, losing their concentration, and just taking irresponsible shots.
Here's Bender double team. And there is Anthony Johnson without control, and a 3-second violation called against Foster. They are calling the 3-second violation tonight for sure.
He's had quite a few of them. For everybody that has questioned these Pacers the last few days over these last couple of losses, the team with the best record in the league, you're getting a very good example of what this team can do. They're showing you all of their weapons tonight. Everybody's contributed from this team, and they're very deep.
And here's Brian Grant, Jordan. And I'll tell you another factor. I think the Pacers noticed the Pistons losing to New Jersey in game 5 at home. They saw what the Lakers did to the Spurs in San Antonio, and they said, wait a second, we're seeing road teams win that game 5. We better focus and make sure it doesn't happen here.
Great point, Dick. And you know, we were at that game last night, and whoever advances there is going to have their hands full with whoever advances here. It'll be a heavyweight fight.
And Dwayne Wade travels, turning it over. You're right about that. As Stan Van Gundy, who knows he's got a young team. And I'll tell you one thing, there's another aspect to this Miami team. I'm not counting them out for this series because it's only 3-2. And that is that free agents are seeing that the Miami Heat are serious about building that basketball, which had been dormant for a couple of years. And they've got some shots to get some people. That's not a bad town to play in, John.
Well, and you can see that by the body signs of the bench as well as the players. These guys are taking this game serious. They're in the playoffs. They don't feel they're anybody's guest. They want to win this thing, and they think they can.
Meanwhile, Jermaine O'Neal, remember that foul trouble early? I think everyone's forgotten that. He has 22 points now, Rex.
I think so. He's a beautiful player. He's worked so hard on his game. It's so good to see a guy work like that and be rewarded because he came into this league at such a young age.
And Wayne Wade with defenders all over him. And Tinsley coming out of the pack nearly halfway through this fourth quarter.
And this is smart what Tinsley did. He came down, he was smelling for the break. It wasn't there. He realizes the clock now is his opponent. He's trying to get out of here.
And O'Neal is fouled, driving the baseline. And tell you what, the big story has to be the reversal of the rebounding. All of a sudden, Indiana came in with the big glass. There you see in the regular season, Indiana had a plus 23 against Miami. And then Miami reversed that in the first 4 games, not tonight. And Foster helping with 14 boards.
And Rick Carlisle thought they needed to do a better job rebounding. They were getting out-rebounded by this Miami team early on in this series, up until tonight. And getting beat on the offensive glass, which didn't make any sense at all.
And he did acknowledge, though, that they do have quickness, which helped them. And there is a kind of a rainbow drive by Odom, who has 14, tied with Wade for the Miami scoring lead.
Perfect shot.
Well, and one of the reasons I was questioning the fact why Odom wouldn't step out, that's because he doesn't have the depth. And it's easy for O'Neal to step out because Artest can go inside, Foster can go inside. But if Odom does that, nobody's there to play inside for him other than Grant on the defensive end.
Hey, Foster missed the shot.
Foster missed the shot.
So the perfect game goes by the boards for Jeff Foster. I hope he doesn't lose his starting job with the Indiana Pacers.
Well, I hope he doesn't lose his confidence.
Yeah, I love that. You know, Rex, I love it when they ask professionals about losing their confidence. Are you kidding? Just play. Ernie, you got it, baby.
All right, Dick. Thank you, baby. We got Tim Duncan and the San Antonio Spurs trying to stay alive against the Lakers next here on TNT. They trailed 3-2. Last year, Game 6 is when they clinched every series. This time, they're playing Game 6 to stay alive. Back to you.
And that should be a big battle coming on, especially coming off of that game number 5 with the amazing 0.4 of a second shot by Derek Fisher after Tim Duncan with 0.9 gave him the lead.
Yeah. And I think that, really, I feel like if the Lakers win it tonight, San Antonio's got no chance.
You know, let me add that up here, Rick. You know what? If it's 4 out of 7, you're right.
Don't quote me on that. But, I feel pretty strongly about it.
That's that new math. You learned that at Kentucky?
I learned that at Kentucky. Oh, boy. Of course, my only prerequisite for getting into school was I had to own a pair of shoes.
Self-deprecating humor has its place late in the 4th quarter here, apparently, at our table. 89-71.
Indiana's picking them apart now. But they're doing it in a smart manner. They're not just coming down going one-on-one. Everybody's trying to get their numbers. You have to get in the habit of playing well when you're in the playoffs because you never know who you're going to run into down the road.
Look at Miller guarding Malik Allen, who scores at the buzzer. It was deflected. Miller playing very hard tonight. Reggie with 13 points on 3-for-4 shooting, so he did not come out firing tonight, but the Indiana Pacers getting it done in every phase. And the rebound for Miami, 89-73, with under 4 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. And Odom, not enough mustard on it. Hey, Indiana didn't win 61 games for nothing.
They didn't. They're a very good team, and they've got a chance to win this whole thing this year.
Artest opens for 3. The Heat should be waving the white towels at this point. 7 players tonight, but to no avail against the real team that has been superior all year long. Indiana 61-21, the Heat 42-40, and if Indiana, with its most impressive victory of the series, the home court deciding the first 5 games, and Miami will have a chance at home where they've won 18 in a row to try to send it to a 7th game.
And their most timely, and they had to have this one. Had to have it.
Malik Allen with the field goal, and Allen tonight with 12 off the bench. It's been Allen and Austin, and Rasul Butler has come in, and Udonis Haslem. So Stan Van Gundy, reading the tea leaves, has now gone deeper into his bench. Rasul Butler hitting a 2-point field goal.
The thing the Indiana Pacers are going to feel real good about is that they executed their game plan well. A lot of times when you have the kind of talent they have, you can win without really executing your game plan as well as you intended. But they've done exactly what they said they wanted to do.
Exactly. And out of bounds, it is still Indiana ball, last touched by Miami.
I think Rick Carlisle needs to go ahead and get these guys, these starters, out of the game. You don't want to take a chance on getting anybody hurt here late. I know he's cut it to 15, but I feel like they're probably in a pretty good spot right now. You certainly don't want to get one of your key guys hurt.
And there's the pick and roll. Foster is fouled on the feet from Miller, and there's a perfect example of what you're talking about.
Perfect example. If Jeff Foster does not land correctly there. He was fortunate to get that left leg back underneath him. He lands pretty hard. He would have landed pretty hard.
You know, it's very good for Indiana, particularly when you look ahead for Foster to play as well as he's playing. It's just as good for Foster because down the road, they're going to need his size and his strength when they move on in this thing.
Jeff Foster in his 5th year from Southwest Texas State, looking for his 20th point of the game. Reggie Miller goes out, having scored 13 points and hitting 1 3. And I'll tell you, when he hit that 3, the roof came off of his field house.
Yeah, and the energy just picked up in the place, and it was Indiana Pacer basketball all over again.
And Reggie has done a disservice because there's no way of measuring intelligence in basketball. I mean, just the little things that he does to change the momentum, discourage the opponent, bait people into fouls.
He's got all the moves.
Look at one right there.
Great savvy. 20 points, 16 rebounds for Jeff Foster as we approach 2 minutes to go. And Rasul Butler is 5 for 8 shooting in the brief time he has played. He has scored 4 points in game 2, 3 points in game 3. And they're trying to make the most of his appearance here. 14-point lead under 2 minutes remaining.
Butler's hitting the shots they needed earlier, those shots from the perimeter, because Indiana had the paint just locked up.
I love that guy. 2 shots in less than a minute. Wow.
Tinsley misses. And Rasul Butler getting the rebound. And Wade has it, 14 points. So 9 have been cut off the biggest lead for Indiana. Wade gets the basket and the foul. And lo and behold, it can become an 11-point game if he makes the free throw.
That guy's just amazing. I mean, the body control going after that loose ball on the other end. And then comes down and what can't this guy do right now?
See,
finishing with the left hand.
You guys were talking about Rick Carlisle not substituting.
Yeah.
Look at the scoreboard. This is why.
Yes.
You always are afraid as a coach to give anybody a sign of hope.
And this has been the pattern again for Miami. They fall way behind, at least in the playoff on the road. They come up with a rally and then fall a little bit short, losing by 13 and 11 in the first 2 games here in Indiana.
There's no quit in this Miami team, though, Dick, as you're saying. You got to respect the fact that these guys are competitive as hell, and they really work hard from the beginning to the end. And I like the vibes I see on the bench. A lot of times you see a lot of guys sitting there looking disinterested. These guys were in it for most of the night.
And what Rex said at the beginning, when he said that, you know, youth has affected them on the road, is also affecting them in a positive way as far as the staying alive aspect.
Absolutely. They're too young and dumb not to be afraid.
You're right. And as we found out already, these guys are fearless. And the one thing that they do not do, they don't take their butt whippings home with them. They don't go home, and they're a different team.
And that's why I say dumb in a positive sense, that you don't want to be so intelligent that you become afraid. And these guys compete.
Tuesday, Miami at 8 p.m. will be game 6. If necessary, game 7 Thursday here at Indiana. And so far, the home team has prevailed. But remember, the Miami Heat will be going home where they have won 18 in a row. And the one thing you know about Indiana, they respect the Miami Heat. If they didn't before, and they might have, they certainly do.
I think so, and they don't need to go back to Miami feeling good about themselves. You know, we've covered a lot of these Eastern Conference teams, and these teams out west need to take note, and the fans need to take note as well. We've heard all year long about the East versus the West and how great the West is. Well, the West had 7 quality teams out there. The East had 6 quality teams. And, you know, the rest of them were just crappy, really.
Rex, all you need is one quality team, though, in a best-of-7 championship. All you need is one team to win. And I'll have to tell you this. I think Indiana is probably capable of beating any Western survivor. What do you think, John?
Well, especially if they're playing well. And you're absolutely right with what you're saying. The probability of them doing it may not be as great as the Western team winning. But are they capable of doing it? Yes, I by all means think the Indiana Pacers are capable of beating any of the Western teams if they play to their best.
Well, they're going to win the 3rd game, but you got to win 4 in the new math that we talked about before. You got to have 4 wins, and Miami still has another shot at home. But Jeff Foster, the hero tonight with 20 points, 16 rebounds, both career highs in the regular season and the playoffs, and Indiana responds. From an unlikely source, to be sure, Jeff Foster with a big game, and the Indiana Pacers defeat the Miami Heat 94-83 and take a 3-2 lead in the best of 7 as home teams have prevailed in the first 5 games. Let's go over now to Charles Davis.
All right, Dick, thank you. I'm with Reggie Miller and Jeff Foster. Great game from both of them. Reggie, talked with a number of your teammates before the game. They said that your routine was the same, but you were a little quieter, maybe a little edgier coming in. Was it because of the importance of this one and the last 2 losses?
Well, obviously, Game 5 is one of the most important games when the series is tied 2-2. I understand we were coming home to try to get some home cooking, but nothing is assured. This Miami Heat team is really pushing us, and they're making it tough on us. So focus was going to be the key, and tonight we got it from a lot of guys.
You made it a tough one, obviously losing the last 2 games. Now you've won at home. You go back on the road. What do you tell this team to prepare to go back to Miami?
We're going to have to play 48 minutes. You know, Miami is bringing it. They've been won 18 or 19 in a row down there, and we're going to have to bring our A game to win down there.
All right, Reggie, thanks a lot. Congratulations. Jeff Foster, we talked at the half about your offense. It continued in the second half, but your defense on Lamar Odom. They talked about how he likes to go to his left a lot. You overplayed him that way. That's always been the plan, I assume.
Right, that was the plan. We let him go left to get middle too many times in Miami, and forget all the points and all that stuff. My job is to come out here and defend the best front court guy, and Lamar Odom happens to be him. And I just take a pleasure in trying to do my best to shut him down.
Okay, Game 6 in Miami. What has to happen for you guys?
It's going to be a tough game. I don't know. They've won 18 in a row, I believe, and I'm sure these guys will come out fired up, ready to go, and we got to play the same way we played tonight, and if we do that, it'll be a dogfight, and hopefully we can come out at the end.
All right, Jeff, congratulations. Good luck in Game 6. Dick, back to you.
All right, the Pacers win by 11, and so for Rex Chapman, John Thompson, Charles Davis, and our statistician Marty Aronoff, Dick Stockton saying so long from Conseco Fieldhouse, where the Pacers have taken the 3-2 lead. Coming up, Spurs and Lakers. I know you're not going anywhere. Game 6. That's the story here in Indianapolis. Right now to our studios and Ernie Johnson.
All right, thank you very much, Dick. And the place is rocking. Staples Center for Game 6. We're going to be taking you there next. Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, the Lakers trying to close out the reigning champions, the San Antonio Spurs. It comes your way next. There's the hero of Game 5, Derek Fisher. What will transpire